Welcome, Pisces, to the month of July 2018. I'm Megan of North Star Astrology, and this is another general transits reading for those of you born with your sun, moon, and or rising signs in the sign of Pisces the fish, the 12th and final zodiac sign. And this reading would not have happened because the power went out this morning, and I'm just now, yay, I'm celebrating over here because I'm glad that I'm able to get to your reading at a beautiful time in the morning, still early. And so yeah, it's 9:45. Okay, so let's get started. On July 1st, the love planet Venus in your 6th house of health and work opposes the moon in Aquarius in your naturally residing 12th house, Pisces. And with this now reticent moon placement in this house opposing the flamboyant planet of Venus in Leo, you now have the ability to shed light and awareness on what it is, maybe subconsciously, that you've been doing to undermine or sabotage or defeat yourself within the workplace, and that's a point you could work on, and or your health here, because this is the 6th house of health. Then on July 4th, happy 4th of July and Independence Day, Pluto, which has been transiting your 11th house of friendships, makes a 60-degree sextile to the moon. So from the 11th to the 1st house, and by the way, the moon in your sign, Pisces. So with this Pisces moon sextiling the transformational outer planet of Pluto in your 11th house, you now have the ability to emotionally, deeply connect with your friends and or group events in a most pleasant manner. Then on July 6th, the last quarter moon happens in Aries in your 2nd house of money and what you value. Creating an opportunity to wrap up last moment financial projects or ending old values or beliefs and creating new ones. And then on the following day, July 7th, Venus trines the moon. So now from the 6th to the 2nd house, you now have a very harmonious moon to Venus energy flow to being able to ask for and receive, as this is a giving and receiving planet, maybe perhaps a raise. Then on July 9th, when the moon goes into your 3rd house of communications, into Taurus, it then squares Venus. So from the 3rd house to the 6th house, you now have a 3, this is 3 signs away, 3 houses away. You now have a 90-degree angle to how you feel in communications with some kind of frustration. There could be some kind of frustrations with communications and how you feel about that with a potential love interest or crush in the workplace, if you have some sort of crush on a coworker. But be mindful in the coming weeks of that. And then on July 10th, Venus leaves Leo and enters Virgo into your 7th house of others, into your opposite sun sign of Virgo. And when it makes an ingress to having the planet of love in the 7th house of significant partnerships, you can then really value and feel the love from others. More pronounced, in other words. And then on July 13th, the new moon happens in Cancer. And into your 5th house of romance and creativity, as well as the partial solar eclipse happening also in Cancer at, looks like it's saying 3 o'clock, 2 minutes and 18 seconds for this partial solar eclipse to occur on July 13th. And with this new moon and partial solar eclipse, there is the ability to partially eclipse out or in, because it's a new moon placement, maybe a new, significantly new romantic partner is coming soon. Then on the following day, July 14th, the moon conjuncts Mercury in your 6th house of work and health in Leo. And this creates, as I see it, a very emotionally and mentally charged ability to communicate with quite a bit of intensity, much like, I feel, much like having Pluto in the 1st house. And it might make you feel a bit like, whoa, like dizzy, like maybe you're doing too much at work and feeling like a chicken with its head cut off, running around, I didn't mean to paint that graphic. Sorry. Oh boy. But anyway, on July 17th, the moon then goes into your 7th house of others, into Virgo, and then proceeds to sextile the sun. And this is a very pleasant aspect or 2 signs or houses away, to have the sun and moon sextiling each other is or gives or will be giving you a sense of happiness, general happiness. Okay, and that's how I feel about it, because that's what I have actually in my natal chart, and I do always feel a general amount of happiness all the time. And then on July 19th, the moon goes into your 8th house of other people's resources and sex, death, and taxes, and squares, again, 3 signs away, squares the sun in your 5th house. Again, here now we have the challenging square, and maybe you might have some irritations with a romantic partner, but nothing to be troubled about. But it is possibly about money or the resources of others, and that you're trying to get some kind of backing and it's not coming through. And then the first quarter moon happens in, well, that was the first quarter moon. The first quarter moon happens at 27 degrees Libra, 5 minutes. Okay, so then I'm correct. It then becomes the first quarter moon at 27 degrees Libra, 5 minutes into the day of July 19th. And I'm assuming then that's when that square occurs, but I'm not quite certain. I'm still learning. I think I'm going to always learn. I'm still learning quite a bit. There's so much more to learn about this awesome science. And so now, here's another thing that happens. On July 22nd, the sun leaves Cancer and enters Leo. So, woohoo, we now have or will have, if you haven't been feeling enough energy lately, we now have more energy from the sun going into Leo on July 22nd. Not that it wasn't harmonious in Cancer, because Cancer's also a water sign like us. I'm a Pisces too. And so anyway, with that, let's move right along. Now, also on July 22nd, the sun trines the moon. Well, I guess the aspect of the sun trining the moon happens before the sun. Goodness. Scratch that. But there is a very harmonious trine with or between the sun and the moon. Then but on July 24th, let's keep moving. Mercury in Leo trines the moon in your, so Mercury in your 6th house of work and health and service given is now trining the moon in your 10th house of career and public standing and all that. And okay, so Leo's a fire sign. Sagittarius is a fire sign. So now, once again, you have a very harmonious trine or 120-degree flowing aspect between how you're able to communicate within the workplace and express your career ideas in a most progressive way, as the moon in Sagittarius gives you a very joyous, progressive standpoint emotionally. Then and I love this. That's a wonderful trine for us to have right now, especially with the 6th house and 10th house placements at this time. Anyway, then on July 26th, Mercury goes retrograde, and it will be retrograde until August 18th. And then the following day, August 19th, it goes direct. So from July 26th to August 18th, be mindful of how you communicate within the workplace. Any contracts or anything that you must sign, look over them carefully. Check documents, double check documents. Don't buy anything expensive, as in a piece of health equipment, unless really needing it, because Mercury retrograde might make you regret doing so. Then on July 26th as well, the moon conjuncts the outer planet Pluto in your 11th house of friendships, goals, hopes, and wishes, and gives you a deeply emotional sense of camaraderie between your friends. That's wonderful. Then, as well, the full moon happens the very next day at 4 degrees Aquarius 45 minutes, as well as a total lunar eclipse happening in your 12th house in Aquarius. So now that the moon's come full circle and now has become full in your 12th house of the subconscious mind and dreams, and now having a total lunar eclipse occurring, you now have the ability. Oh, and this, by the way, is a barbell-shaped glyph and or the symbol for the total lunar eclipse that I created out of purple felt. Anyhow, you now have the ability to illuminate, maybe through some kind of self-counsel or even counseling, you now have the ability to illuminate and or eclipse out any trifling subconscious things that are troubling your unconscious and or the subconscious mind. Okay, and then on the very final day, on July 29th, Mercury, as it's now retrograde, after going retrograde on the 26th, now opposes. Mercury retrograde opposes the full moon. And so with this opposition and or point of awareness, as I like to call it, you now definitely have a greater awareness, despite the retrograde, of what it is that you can shed light on, and or how you may be undermining or self-sabotaging your work, or what it is that you're doing for a job, and or the I guess that's exactly how I see it or sense it. You have a greater awareness of how you're self-sabotaging yourself. So it's a time that you can recompose yourself and shed light and illuminate that which you have been possibly doing or thinking, because this is the planet of communications and or thought. Or you might even have greater ideas. But with that, I want to thank you for taking your time to watch this and listen to my input or insight to what I see happening in July for you. And I hope you will give me a thumbs up, comment down below, subscribe, and until next month, thank you very much for looking up upon the North Star. Bye.